Hello YouTube. I decided to throw out another quick PoE crafting guide because I realized I never made a video about this last season and it's something pretty important to understand. I'm going to talk you through the steps of recombinating and fracturing a fire overcapped grasping male. There's a lot of numbers that you need to understand. So I'm going to briefly show you the numbers and then just tell you exactly what to do, and then hopefully you'll be able to figure that out from there. So the first and most important thing is when you recombinate, these are the odds to carry mods over. So if you have two mods, like let's say we just take this Regalia, or let's say you have one mod, right? You just have a suffix here, and you have your prefix here, and you just smash these two together. The odds of you even keeping that one mod is only 59%. But on top of that, you also then need to win the 50-50 to choose the Regalia. So you have a 41%, you have, actually no, it's 59% to just keep one mod, right? But it can keep any of the two mods that you just recombined. So this 59% is divided by 2, and then you need to win a 50-50. So you're looking at a 14.75% chance to end up with a Regalia with fire overcapped. Those odds are terrible. We want to try and increase the odds as much as possible. So from all the testing that I've done, from all the research I've done, the highest odds that I could find was doing this. You want to get yourself your grasping male, and you want to get it to a point where it only has one prefix, like this, and that can be done in a variety of ways. So I'm going to send you an example quickly of what a friend of mine sent me, what they got, the grasping male that they have. As soon as I can find the picture. Oh god. Yo, Jinx, can you send the picture again? But yeah, the way that you're going to go about getting it to be only one mod is, for starters, let's say you have two prefixes. The amount of suffixes you have on the item does not matter, because you can use Eldritch Currency to completely clear out the suffixes by using, no, I meant the one from before. Thank you. Okay, so this is the base. Nope, that's not it either. Okay, never mind. So the ways that you can go about clearing this out is, for starters, if you have any suffixes, we can use an Eldritch Null Orb. If the string Exor is dominant, remove a prefix. If Ether is dominant, remove a suffix. So you throw on an Ichor, and now any suffixes we have, we can just spam a null to get the suffix out. And then the second thing we want to do is then if we have two prefixes and we use a a Pneumoplagued Arachnid, this beast is going to allow us to split the chest base. And I'm going to split it in two, and both bases are going to have one prefix then, because there's only two mods, so we could only have split those two mods. And that should be good enough for most cases. Like this one here, we have two prefixes, two suffixes. You use Eldritch and Nulls to get the suffixes out, and then you split the Ash and the Overcapped. Now, ideally, you want to try and buy bases that are, somewhat guaranteed to work. And there's quite a bit of thinking that can go into that. You can get very advanced with it. I'll try my best to explain just the basic stuff and not confuse people. But there is things you should be on the lookout for when considering a base, whether or not it's good. But let's say all that's gone, you have three prefixes. The best thing that you can do is do a triple split and just pray. And if you ever end up with Fire Overcapped and another mod, you end up with Zofs, you ended up with a tool. If you end up with any other Grasping Mel mod to go for Overcapped, you essentially just have to 50-50 it if you can't split it, and it's not a suffix. If you end up with these two prefixes and they're both type of Zof, there is no way to guarantee to keep the fire overcapped, because only one of these two mods can survive a recombination. One of the mods will go away when you recombinate, unfortunately. Okay, so that out of the way, you have your fresh grasping male base. What do you do? The first thing that we want to do is we want to imprint it. So we're going to imprint. Then we're going to regal. Actually, what you're going to do is You're going to aug it, then imprint it instead. Okay, whatever. And then you're going to regal. We had a prefix and we had mana. Mana is a perfect prefix. Mana is a perfect prefix. Okay. So what prefixes are we looking for to try and get on the fire overcapped? You know, let's undo this. Let's do another regal. Life is not a perfect prefix. Mana is a perfect prefix. Life sunks. We had a suffix. We exalted orb. Mana. Increased armor evasion energy shield. That's another perfect prefix. So what are we looking for? In this game, there are 3 types of bases that you can think about, right? Our only goal is to get the fire overcapped off of the grasping mail. So if you look at a body armor, you can either have a dex body armor, an int body armor, or a strength body armor. And each of these body armors has a different niche to them. If you take the strength body armor, for example, do you see that there's no way to get mana on a strength body armor? So if you recombinate a mana plus in a second now. Okay, let's just add the mana ourselves. So if you recombinate a base with mana on it and fire overcapped, and you recombinate it with a strength base, and it chooses the strength base, it can never send over the mana, even though the mana is included in the mod pool. Which means that if you were to then recombinate this grasping mail onto your strength base, and it hits the strength base, you are guaranteed, no matter what, to have the fire overcapped on the strength base. But we want to increase our odds, because there's still the 66.7% that you end up with one mod, and it chooses, you know, the grasping mail, and now you're fucked. You know, now you get mana and you lose your fire overcap. That's not good. So what we can do to increase the odds further is, if you go to the calculator, there are certain mods that cannot show up on a grasping mail. So you see that we have flat armor. There is no such thing as percent armor, percent evasion, or percent energy shield on a grasping mail base. The only ways to get that is like to have all 3 like this. You know, where it's like increase armor evasion and energy shield, increase armor evasion and energy shield. So what we can do is we have this base prep now. Now Todd Regal is not going to work for this because, you know, we have mana as our blocking mod. So we're going to pull out just another, you know, item level 100 base. And you use item 100 because you want to try and up the item level, so it's always above 86 for your finished product. So we pull out a strength base. The base type literally doesn't matter. Let's just say we have an astral plate. We're going to, in our emulator. Now with this astral plate, what we're going to do is we're going to spam essence on it. And it needs to be tier 2 or lower essence. And I'm going to pull out the dread. Yeah, dread. No, not dread. Oh, sorry, I remember what I did wrong now. Because we have mana on this chest, the essence we want to use is mana essence. So again, we can't actually roll mana essence on the plate, but we can still essence it on there. So this is not a native mod to an astral plate. This is not a mod that can actually roll on an astral plate. So when we recombinate, this mana, if it chooses astral plate, is going to fall off. But if it chooses the grasping mail, it was still going to stay there. And what we're going to do is we want to spam this essence until we get percent armor. So yeah, we have increased armor. This increased armor is not a mod that can show up on a grasping mail. So what we're going to do is we're going to null off the live. Well, we just hit the null. And now we have our 2 bases to recombinate. So we have a grasping mail with fire overcapped and mana. And we have an astral plate with mana and increased armor. So we have a mod pool of 4, right? There's a 10% chance to get 1 mod and a 90% chance to get 2 or 3 mods. No matter which base it chooses, if we get 2 or 3 mods, it will always have the fire overcap. It cannot be lost. Because if it chooses the grasping mail, it's going to choose mana and overcapped. If it chooses the astral plate, it's going to choose increased armor percent and fire overcapped, because we can't have mana on the item. And this is what's important. We use tier 2 mana because then it's not seen as an essence. Like tier 2 and lower is not seen as essence in game. It has like the mana tiers that is used in the game. Like Zephyr is tier 1 mana. I don't know what tier 2 mana is called. But essence mana does not count for that. Like tier 1 does not count for that, only tier 2 or lower essence. So you can't use deafening, but you can use shrieking. So when we recombinate this, if it chooses the astral plate, it will always take over the fire overcapped and increase the armor. And if it chooses the 10% for one mod, it's then a 50-50 to lose the fire overcapped. So you have a 5% chance of losing fire overcapped if you get the astral plate. If it chooses the grasping mail, it's instead a 3.33% chance to lose the fire overcapped because there's 2 mana mods in the pool, like this and this is in the pool, as well as the fire overcapped is in the pool. So the odds of you losing the fire overcapped is 6.67%. So between those two, you're looking at like a 6% chance of keeping the fire overcapped with every recombinate. Now, let's say you do this, right? You recombinate them, you win. You end up, you lose the mana because it can't actually roll on the mod. It's guaranteed to get removed. And you have your fire overcapped. Okay. Just imagine this as fire overcapped on it, because I don't think you can actually get this on that. And like the thingy. So you have your increased armor, and you have your fire overcapped, right? What you're gonna do then is, okay, let me actually do it like this. So you have this, and you have your fire overcapped on your item. What you're gonna do is the same as before. We're gonna use Eldritch Currency to get all of the suffixes out, and we're gonna have our prefix, and we're going to then harvest beast, split it. Again, we're pulling out the Pneumo Arachnid, Plagued Arachnid, and that's going to give us 2 astral plates. One astral plate is going to have the fire overcapped, and one is going to have the increased armor. So, armor is here, fire overcapped is here. But now, we have this no shit base. We don't want the astral plate because I want to have this on a Twilight Regalia, personally. So how do we get to the Twilight Regalia? So the process to get it to the Twilight Regalia is actually very easy. Astral Plate is an armor-only base. Twilight Regalia is an energy shield-only base. So if you want to guarantee the transfer between these two, that it will always keep the fire overcapped, you need to essence your Twilight Regalia with evasion. And let's say you want to get this necrotic armor, then you would use energy shield. Sorry, not energy shield. If you want to get a necrotic armor, you would need to first transfer it from an armor base to a energy shield base, and then use armor. Because neither necrotic armor can't roll armor. But we're not doing that. We're going to a Twilight Regalia. So we're going to use the essence that gives us evasion. Doubt tier 2. And literally, you're just clicking the essence, annul, until you only have evasion left. That's perfect. So now we have evasion here, and we have fire overcapped here. And when we recombine this, because we only have 2 prefixes, we only have 2 prefixes, it is 100% of the time going to have 1 mod, but this evasion essence cannot roll on the astral plate, and it can't roll on the Twilight Regalia, so we will always, always, always keep the fire overcapped. So let's say you do that, and you end up winning, and now you have fire overcapped on the Twilight Regalia, okay? So you're going to end up with your Twilight Regalia, and it's going to have fired overcapped. How do we fracture this now? Like, how do we maintain the fire overcapped on the Twilight Regalia? That's quite easy. You're going to use Eldritch Currency, like before. You're going to, again, make your Ether dominant, and you're going to just do Exalted Orb over and over again until you have 3 suffixes. And it's very important that we do this because we want 3 suffixes. We want 0 prefixes. So you have it like this. Imagine this evasion rating is the fire overcapped, because you can't do that in game, like on Craft of Excel, and you fracture. And then we hit the fire overcapped. But let's say we don't hit the fire overcapped, okay? So we hit fire res. What do you do now? Well, what you do now is quite simple. You do the exact same thing as before. You get another Twilight Regalia, because you want the Twilight Regalia. You either use Armor or Evasion Essence, because it cannot roll either of those two mods. And you're again going to recombinate it. And you're going to keep recombinating it with a 100% chance to keep your fire overcapped every single time until eventually the fracture mod fucks off. If you choose the other Twilight Regalia base, the fracture will go away. Or if you just get lucky on the recombinate, it will just either way drop the fracture mod. And doing it this way, you can essentially guarantee a fire overcapped on your base every single time. The only risk is initially transferring the fire overcapped to the different base, which has a 6% or so chance of you losing the mod. Just an example in standard on PoE. Maybe I'll do a short or something of me doing it. You guys use the imprint if you miss a fracture? No. Imprints are not going to be usable anymore. How big is the difference between damage between... Okay, well, that's going to be it for me, YouTube. I hope this was a good explanation. I hope that you guys understand, like, this is how I made, like, 30 mirrors last league. I just kept doing this over and over again. It's absolutely a free money printer. The risk is very low compared to the profit margins. I hope you don't get 6%ed. I really hope you don't get 6%ed. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys have a lovely day further. And I'll see you all again next time. Bye, YouTube. Bye-bye. Like, comment, subscribe. Watch my model review on the 14th of November. Bye-bye.